Right now, millions of electronic devices around the world are being thrown away. But here's the strange part. Most of these devices actually still work. Their screens are fine, their batteries still function, their motherboards have no issues. But they still can't be used. Because people forget their Apple IDs emails created years ago get shut down, phone numbers change, passwords are lost. And when the device gets reset, only one screen appears. This iPhone is linked to an Apple ID, and from that moment on, the device becomes completely locked. Apple's activation lock system was originally designed for security purposes. The goal was to prevent stolen devices from being used by someone else. On paper, it sounds logical. But in real life, things sometimes work very differently because some people still have the original invoice for the device. They still have the box. They still have the IMEI information. Some even have official documents proving they are the legal owner of the device. Yet despite all of this, many users say they still receive negative responses from Apple, and as a result, perfectly working devices become unusable. And this is where the irony begins. Because Apple constantly presents itself to the world as an environmentally friendly company. They talk about carbon neutrality goals. They release recycling videos. They say removing charging adapters from the box is helping the environment. But on the other side, millions of devices are turning into electronic waste simply because of software locks. Think about it. A phone physically works. Inside it, there is gold, copper, lithium, and rare earth materials. Huge amounts of energy were used to manufacture it. But simply because someone can't access an old account anymore, the device becomes completely unusable. And most of these devices either get dismantled or sit inside drawers for years. Today, the amount of electronic waste in the world keeps increasing every single year. And while tech companies promote environmental campaigns, millions of devices are actually being pushed out of the system because of software restrictions. Even worse, many users still cannot get help even after proving they're the rightful owner of the device. This is exactly why the right to repair movement has been growing in recent years. People are starting to ask, who is the real owner of a device? The person who paid for it, or the company that controls the system? Because today, some users can't even access their own devices. Of course, Apple defends this system by saying it reduces theft by making stolen devices harder to use. But there are already ways to check that. iCloud status, clean, iCloud status, lost. And despite this, there are still real people being affected by the system. People who simply can't access accounts they created years ago. And because of that, they lose access to their own devices. When they contact Apple support, they are directed to an activation request page where they are asked to upload the original purchase invoice of the phone. But unfortunately, the result often doesn't change. About a week later, they receive an email that says, "We're unable to complete your request to remove activation lock. We were unable to complete your request to remove activation lock for this device. Product: iPhone case ID 10288XXXXX. We are unable to review additional requests or documentation associated with this device. Learn more about activation lock and iCloud terms and conditions. Thank you, Apple." Even though the user purchased the device from an official Apple store and still had every document, including the original invoice. And maybe the real issue here isn't technology, but control. Maybe it's also about pushing users toward buying newer iPhones as sales begin to slow down. Because today, millions of devices technically still work, but they can't be used because the system does not allow it. And every locked device means a little more electronic waste. By using the system and constantly emphasizing theft prevention, Apple has effectively created its own market around it. So, what do you think? Who should be considered the real owner of a device?